In this new world of global streaming giants, billion-dollar TV shows and multi-screen madness, sometimes it's hard to find a show that truly resonates for more than 5 minutes before your attention is grabbed by the next shiny thing. But sometimes a show comes along where you put your phone down, immerse yourself, laugh, cry, and then think about it long after the end credits roll. And to the surprise of many, that show is Clarkson's Farm. A show no one expected, about an industry few understood or even talked about, featuring a cast of characters you'd never expect to be this compelling. First of all, let's just take a minute to set out the premise for the show. As many of you will already know, for decades Jeremy Clarkson was one of the most recognisable faces on TV, thanks to his time on BBC's Top Gear and the Grand Tour on Amazon Prime. Jeremy has owned a farm and land for a number of years, but in 2019, the manager of the farm retired, at which point Jeremy had a decision to make. Find another person to employ to run the farm, stop farming the land, or the most bonkers path of all, try to do it himself. Of course, the decision was taken that Jeremy, a man with zero previous experience or knowledge of how to run a farm, would take charge. And here is where the first genius element of this show lies, but we'll come back to that. Over the course of the first 3 seasons, we see Jeremy and his brilliant cast of characters try to navigate the difficult, infuriating, heartbreaking, heartwarming world of farming. Planting fields that are at the mercy of the unpredictable weather, raising animals and all the joy and pain that comes with that, attempting to diversify the farm's income by creating new products and sales outlets. Combine that with the never-ending, overbearing, ridiculous, infuriating bureaucracy of the government and particularly the local council, and what you have is a show that is compelling in a way that 95% of other shows wish they were. For me, this show took me back to the days of binging episodes and that great but sinking feeling of at midnight hitting play again and saying just one more ep. So why is this show so great? Well, let's not overcomplicate this to begin with. Bottom line, it's hilarious. Watching Jeremy make dumb mistakes, thinking he knows best, to the exasperation of his team, never gets old. But the reactions to Jeremy's antics are what really make this great, and that's where the wider cast comes in. Caleb, a young farm worker, becomes the other half of a hilarious double act. Caleb knows what he's doing, and he's not scared to pull Jeremy up on his nonsense. Charlie, a professional land agent, plays a straight man in the comedy trio, and he's just as funny in his own way, regularly telling Jeremy why he can't do something. His looks of confusion, the way he explains rules, regulations, and sometimes just simple maths to Jeremy are some of the best parts of the show. These 3 combined with the addition of Jeremy's partner Lisa and the lovable Gerald create a heart to the show that really does pull you in and want to root for them to succeed against the seemingly endless deluge of problems and bad luck. As I mentioned earlier, another important part of this show for the wider audience is the initial setup. Of course, if you're a farmer yourself, you'll probably be already familiar with how things work. But for the other 99% of the audience, we don't know how to run a farm, the finances, the rules, the skills needed, the ways to make money. So for that 99% of us, we go on the journey with Jeremy and experience things at the same time he does. We learn things at the same time as him. We are shocked by the same things he is. We feel the pain that losing animals, a downpour of rain, or some job's worth at the council ruining a plan at the same time Jeremy does, and react with the same shock or sadness Jeremy does too. Which brings me to another point of why this show is important, and that's its impact on the public perception of farmers and the industry itself. Farmers all over the world, not just the UK, love this show. You can see so many videos on YouTube, posts in forums and farming publications praising the show. Not just for the realistic depiction of the challenges the industry faces, but importantly for bringing these issues to the wider public. And I totally get this. It might sound a bit weird, but when driving past fields now, I look to see what might be planted there. When it rains for 3 days non-stop, I think that it must suck for the local farmers. When I get stuck behind a tractor, I don't get annoyed anymore. I see a sign for a farm shop and I want to buy something just to support them in a small way. A few days ago I was in a meeting with about 10 people. Afterwards we had a beer at the bar and every single person around the table had seen the show. And without exception, they all loved it. There are not many shows that can achieve that level of awareness and sentiment in 2024 with all the options we have available. So anyway, if you haven't seen this show yet, go watch. It doesn't matter if you like Clarkson or not, if you're into farming or not, this show is about much, much more. It is made with so much heart and care that it will stick with you long afterwards. Amidst a sea of mediocrity being made in 2024, this show stands out head and shoulders above most of the other stuff out there. Clarkson's Farm is a joy and will have you hitting that next episode button long into the early hours. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.